for the longest time ever, I was the biggest advocate of standard shopping and not moving over to PMAX. And we still do in some cases, the labelizer and indexing splits with standard shopping campaigns. But to my surprise, now I'm testing PMAX. I'm actually quite overwhelmed with how good the results are.
100%.
And I've turned into a bit of a PMAX advocate now.
Yeah, interesting. It's funny. Well, for your benefit, Google recently started prioritizing shopping campaigns on the same level as PMAX.
Yes,
so up until very recently, PMAX should always take the lion's share of the traffic and the spend. But now it's actually leveled with shopping. So good for you in that case. And as for PMAX, you know, the way I looked at it back in the day was similar to Smart Shopping. I don't know if you remember when Smart Shopping released, right? So, you know, back in the day, you only had standard shopping. Smart Shopping came out and everyone's like, what is this nonsense? Like, everyone knew smart campaigns back then, and it was the most stupid thing ever. So everyone's like, no way. Like, anything called smart, I don't want to touch it, right? So everyone was super skeptical. And then it was like around the same time where people like, hold up, like, I'm using smart, like, what shopping campaigns working best for you? And it's, oh, Smart Shopping. Oh, me too. And people started catching on to it. To this day, my favorite Google product ever, Smart Shopping. The best. Like, I miss it so much, like more than all my exes combined. But yeah, and I saw the same thing. I'm like, we all, you know, when PMAX came out, same like Smart Shopping, control got taken away, highly algorithmic stuff, I can't do stuff. Everyone's skeptical. Luckily, we have a really strong team, very veteran team, and everyone on my team was like, don't worry, like, this is going to work out really, really well. And same thing happened here, right? And we find that PMAX, as we're moving forward, is getting better and better and better and better and better. And frankly, I do not know of any account at the moment that is doing better with standard shopping as opposed to PMAX. Like maybe one or two like very niche things where you're like targeting specific like you know, manufacturer part numbers, whatever, things like that. But generally speaking, PMAX is the top dog right now.
Do you find that also to be the case with higher ticket products? And I mean, almost like your luxury beds, or, you know, the 1K, 2K, 3K, you still also...
Oh, 100%. PMAX is crushing. Yeah. It's not so much high ticket. It's sort of like, I think the determining factor is where you're priced in relation to your competitors, right? If your product is, you know, if it's competitively priced, and I mean just pricing, because everyone's competitively priced considering USPs and whatever. But just in terms of pricing, like if you're in the midfield, maybe upper midfield, you know, lower part in terms of pricing, then Google Shopping is going to work typically really well for you if you have product market fit, right? In that case, I recommend PMAX. However, if you are, and that's the case with our beds, like our beds are very, very competitively priced. Now, if you were a high ticket item and you're above average, like you're high price sort of in relation to your competitors, then you can still use PMAX, but it will not be the main, like rarely be the, at least if it's asset only, which is basically just shopping, rarely it will be the main driver. Like it will be a cog in the wheel in the account, but it's likely not going to be enough unless you have crazy brand awareness.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think that's the other thing with PMAX is a lot of people get a bit lazy with it and people aren't optimizing. And I think a lot of the time people forget that one of the core drivers itself is going to be the product feed, especially if you're spending a lot on shopping. Yeah. So split testing product titles and stuff like that.
Basic.
When it comes to PMAX and optimizing, I think you've released, was it like a 7-step guide to what you need to be doing to improve your Google shopping results or PMAX in general?
Yeah, shopping,
Maybe
correct.
you could go over that because I think that would be quite valuable.
100%. So in the end of the day with PMAX and with shopping, it's mostly, I find it's attention to detail and it is being on top of the most recent developments. So what basically in a nutshell is optimize your product feed. You know, if you have top performing keywords, be that from search or from shopping, PMAX, whatever, make sure they're in your title. Like I find that is the most determining factor in terms of targeting and ranking is the title, right? So very easy, not very easy to do, but it's like you do it once and it's done, right? You can test it as well, but at least make sure one time you include all your top performing search terms and keywords in your title. Done. Product ratings, like I think there's zero excuse for anyone not to have product ratings. I know it's difficult to set up, but like having those rating stars, I think is very important. If your competitors have them, you must have them. If your competitors do not have them, it's a tremendous opportunity. So that's the second one, which both are sort of just, you know, due diligence and attention to detail. I think those are really important. If you're in Europe, CSS, no brainer, 15% CPC discount. And I think if you have anything above 20 to 50 SKUs, using the labelizer script makes a lot of sense. Like, you should at least look into it. Sometimes there's cases where it doesn't make sense, but most of the time, especially if you have something where the performance is diversified over multiple SKUs, such as fashion, like then or furniture, definitely you should look into an index split.
Yeah.
And lastly, I would say use a PMAX Insight script. There's one by Mike Rhodes, which is really, really good. And that allows you to see the share of, like, you know, what share of your traffic, because PMAX can go into shopping, it can go into search, video, etc. It allows you to see the split, you know, where's the revenue and cost coming from. It allows you to see search terms and things like that. So those would be the most important things I would recommend for someone to do.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, I don't think I would add anything to that. It was spot on. Yeah, really, thank you for sharing that. So when it comes to optimizing product titles, do you use any tools for that, for A/B testing and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I think the best tool to use for product title optimization is the one that your Google Ads Manager knows well. Like, we have different people in the team that are strong with different products. We have someone that's really, really strong with Channel Pilot, a bit more of a, not legacy tool, but like, you know, it's not the newest tool, but very powerful. We've got other people that are really good with Channable. And so I don't think it particularly matters what tool you use. I think you should pick a tool that is like updated regularly, so you don't have like any outages. And then it's about picking the tool that your people know how to use really, really well. And then it's just about doing it. And even if you don't want to use a tool, or even if you don't have anyone, go in there, do it yourself. You know, if you've got 10, 20 SKUs, just open up a sub feed, you know, put on the titles and optimize it by hand. You know, it's not the most sophisticated way, but the important thing is that you do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
One other thing came to mind when you were speaking about Channable, and it sparked my mind on scaling into different locations and different countries. What do you find to be the best way to do that? Or what style of feed app do you tend to use? Or is it not one in particular, like you say? Is it various different ones?
For internationalization?
Yes, so different markets.
Yeah, there are like, it used to be a very, very tedious process, internationalization. I remember when we took LB24 to France, because we were primarily Germany based, it was a 6-month project.
Wow. Translating
all the, like, there was no AI back then, right? So like translating all the, just the website in itself, and then the feed and everything was crazy. Q&A and that, etc. So now there are so many AI tools that you can leverage in order to translate a website and also your feed. Typically, I would always, internationalization, I'd always do it with an MVP, right? Minimum viable product. So, you know, fastest way to get something good live, right? Don't do something that's going to damage your brand, but try and do it in a very cost efficient way, quick and dirty. Just get in there, translate it using whatever app you have available, and just run, you know, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 spend, and just see, you know, because if the conversion rate's 0.2% with like a quick and dirty setup, it won't be 5% with a good one, right? So that's my approach. You know, less thinking, more action, do it quickly, see if it works, get the benchmarks, and then decide, all right, do we want to further pursue this, or do we focus on what's been working?
Yeah, so just acquire some initial data, throw it in there quick and fast, see if it works, and if you're onto something, double down.
Exactly, like you will able to see, like as I mentioned, if it's 0.2, it won't turn into 5.
Yeah,
you know, and if it's 1.8 or if it's 2.2, wherever, you know, all right, this will probably work.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I feel like we've covered quite a bit there with regards to Google, then looking into PMAX, advertorials, demand gen, optimizing product titles, probably more than what you'd get at one of those masterminds you were talking about earlier. Not the made men ones, but I mean the 5, 8, 10K ones.
Exactly.